إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
Before I start, I want to give a shout out to somebody, alright? They're my day one, alright? So I want you guys to give a very warm applauding to Hassan Jibril in the back. That is my manager, so if you want any contract offers, you go to him.
50 million.
That's too little, I'm sorry. I got you in the back, wherever you were. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. I'm 6 feet deep within my problems, you can guide me. You are the one who finds me. I'm 6 feet deep within my problems, you can guide me. You are the one who finds me. I'm losing hope that I won't make it to your gardens. I pray my heart doesn't harden. Yeah, I'm losing hope that I won't make it to your gardens. I pray my heart doesn't harden. Yeah, so stand up, pray to the Lord, to the one who created us all. So who are we to disobey? So who are we to disobey? Yeah. Together we are one ummah. We fight together as one ummah. Together we are one ummah. We fight together as one ummah. La ilaha illallah, kalimatu rasulillah, kalimatu rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'm 6 feet deep within my problems, you can guide me. You are the one who finds me. I'm 6 feet deep within my problems, you can guide me. You are the one who finds me. I'm losing hope that I won't make it to your gardens. I pray my heart isn't hardened. Yeah. I'm losing hope that I won't make it to your gardens. I pray my heart isn't hardened. Yeah. So stand up, pray to your Lord, to the one who created us all. So who are we to disobey? So who are we to disobey? Yeah. Together we are one ummah. We fight together as one ummah. Together we are one ummah. We fight together as one ummah. La ilaha illallah, kalimatu rasulillah, kalimatu rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala محمد اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل على محمد. Together we are one ummah, we fight together as one ummah. Together we are one ummah, we fight together as one ummah. La ilaha illallah, kalimat rasulillah, kalimat rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Jazakallah khair, Ibrahim and Rashid, for that. They've been performing up at MMYC before, and then I missed, mashallah, like, I'm not even just saying this for the sake of saying this, but I honestly really enjoy their work. Next up, we have a little trickster. We have my man Nasser. Nasser is really good with the soccer ball. So okay, Nasser is doing what's up. Yeah, listen up. Oh shoot! That's nothing, man. Just watch. Okay. Ooh.
Whoa! I got that. Awesome! Whoa! Whoa! Awesome! The rainbow! Rainbow!
Dang!
Oh!
Dang! What?
You guys! Everyone's off their seats. Do the rainbow. Come on, the rainbow. Pinwheel! Rainbow. Yeah! Awesome. Bend me up. I honestly.
Here's one thing I learned about Nasser. He's really good with the soccer ball, as you can see, but he doesn't play soccer. He just doesn't play soccer. He's just a freestyle soccer person. Genius. Oh!
That's not him. Oh, exciting. They shoot through the ceiling. And break it. Don't sit on the ball. Yeah, go Nasser. Yeah, sit on the ball. Whoa! Oh, you're done. Awesome. Messi. Even better. Even better than
Thank you, for some swift soccer tricks. Next up we have Majid Mubin. He is Majid is actually a student up in Pennsylvania. He came just to Michigan for this week. Listen up. Majid came to Michigan just for this week. Pay attention to Majid. He's very talented, mashallah. Just watch what he does and he'll give an explanation of what he's going to do. You guys are going to have to be quiet to listen to.
I know.
Hello?
I can't hear it.
Yes. That's just got really good. Did you actually did something?
Can't think of the possibility.
You could sit there and choke over the guys.
Did you see that?
Play with
What is he gonna do?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. What I'm about to do is called forensics, not the CSI kind. It's called forensics feature debate. You take a piece of literature, you actors all the characters, and you tell a story. This story is from a children's book from your local library. It's called Scarlett Angelina Wolverton Manning, and it's by Jacqueline K. Ogburn. I'm going to give an introduction later too, but it's usually really confusing what it is that I do. But basically, I'm going to give the voices of the narrator and all the characters, and try to tell you the story. If you don't get it, get the book later and read it. Maybe it'll make sense after it. Scarlett Angelina Wolverton Manning lived in a very big house with a cook, the upstairs maid, the downstairs maid, the chauffeur, and the gardener. The house had a long driveway, a large lawn, and 400 rooms. Scarlett's parents loved her very much and thought she was very beautiful. She had the Wolverton smile. She has the many eyes. And it was true. When sleazy Ralph kidnaps a young heiress, you can't help but think that things are going his way. Little does he know that karma works in mysterious ways, and everyone gets what they deserve. For there is more than meets the eye to the young Scarlett Angelina Wolverton Manning by Jacqueline K. Ogburn. One afternoon, as Scarlett Angelina was going into a long black car to and from school every day, she noticed something. You drove past my house. I'm going to be late for my French lesson now. You won't be going to any French lesson today, little girl. You'll be staying with me for a while. Just do as I say and everything will be all right. Okay. As long as you take me home soon, my mom always says I have to go home before dark. They drove through the countryside and into the woods. Oh, The house had just 4 rooms and no maids. In the living room, there was a couch, a goldfish, a green parrot, and a small ginger cat. Nice kitty, said Scarlett Angelina, but the cat just hissed and ran away. I always have steak extra rare for dinner on Thursdays. I'll stay and dine with you, but you have to take me home before dark. I think I have some hamburger in the fridge. Let me go check. You wait here and be quiet. And Ralph left the room.
Who's Ralph?
Scarlett Angelina said, "Ooh, what a pretty little parrot." The bird gave a horrible squawk, and the cat hid behind the chair. In the living room, Ralph was making a call towards Scarlett Angelina's parents. The whole Wolverton Manning household had been in an uproar ever since she hadn't come home in time. The cook could not, the maids would not clean. And the gardener? Well, the gardener. Ordered a cactus by mistake. They were waiting by the phone when it rang. Listen, I have your daughter and I want $5 million to bring her back. We've been separated. Of course, we want her back immediately. And I do believe we have that much money in the upstairs safe. But we must have her back before dark. That's what she keeps on telling me. And she may have to stay up fast for bedtime tonight. You must do as I say. Good. Right, but I'm afraid you're going to understand. She needs to take her medicine. That's right, her medicine. All right, 7:30. That's sunset. Meet me at the Sweetgrass graveyard near the tomb of Ferris Wolfschmidt. Don't forget the money, and remember, no police. Of course, no police, never the police. We'll both be there. Poor Scarlett Angelina, and tonight of all nights when there's a full moon. We must be brave, my darling. We'll get her back soon. Back at the house, Ralph returned to find the birdcage on the floor. What happened here? Oh, the little birdie wanted out, so I let it out of its cage. It must be hiding now. Where's my dinner? Eat that, little girl. Scarlett Angelina ate her hamburger in 3 quick bites. Oh. Excuse me. Can I have some more milk? Scarlett Angelina crept quietly behind the couch and said, "Here, kitty, kitty, my hand." What happened to my couch? There's scratches all over it. I tried to pet the little kitty, but it scratched me and ran away. It must be hiding now. Hurry up, little girl. We have to go. They got back into the long black car and Ralph drove them towards the Sweetgrass graveyard. Scarlett's parents were waiting behind the tomb of Ferris Wolfschmidt. The whole Wolverton Manning household was awaiting Scarlett's return. What are you doing? It's almost dark. I have to be home now. Don't worry, little girl. You'll be home soon. Just wait a while, said Ralph as he got out of the long black car. He straightened his chauffeur's cap and put on a black mask, then made his way towards the tomb of Ferris Wolfschmidt. Do you have the money? It's right here in this bag. Where is our daughter, you fiend? She's in the garden. You can have her once I've counted my money.
She's a nice girl, but little strange. Mr. Wolverton Manning asks, we should be getting it back. It's almost across the graveyard. The full moon began to rise. Hold on a minute. I'm counting. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Wolverton Manning began to look a little distraught. I'm afraid I can't do that much longer. His teeth grew sharp. His nails grew longer. And across his face grew hair. Mrs. Wolverton Manning smiled her famous Wolverton smile, complete with shining fangs and all. Ralph, drop the bag and said, he ran back to the long black car, the Wolverton Manning snapping at his heels. Werewolves! Werewolves! He zoomed his car towards the gates of the graveyard. Hold on, little girl, we're getting out of here. Werewolves! Werewolves! I can't believe those people were werewolves. In the back seat, Scarlett Angelina said, Scarlett did eventually make it back home in one piece. As for Ralph, well, he never took another child from her parents again. In fact, he was never heard from.
So funny. He was Dude, you're crazy.
Alright guys, Ameen wants me to say a few more things about forensics. So it's like actually something really popular in Michigan. A lot of high schools do it, and it's a fun extracurricular that you can do. Basically, to get involved, I guess you have to have your high school be involved in it. It's usually called forensic speech and debate. And how it works is that you look for a piece of literature and then you find it and you try and practice and you make this piece. Sorry, my voice is a little loud. You go to these competitions every year and compete against other kids. So you have 6 people per round, and each person performs their piece, in a row, and you have a judge that judges you. You have 3 rounds for that tournament of that day, usually on Saturdays. And then you have lunch, and then you have semis and finals, where a certain number of people advance, like usually like a quarter of the people or half the people, and then the top 6. And then from there, top 6 all get awards. So you have invitationals, if you know what I mean. Like different schools host other schools to compete against them in these tournaments. And then at the end of the year, you have like a regional tournament where each team sends 2 people for each category. So my category is storytelling because it's based on the type of literature you would do. So like, there's poetry, there's storytelling, and there's DI, which is like screenplays and plays. And prose is like using novels or books other than short stories. And they send 2 kids from each category, send them to the regional tournament, you compete against other people, and then a certain number of those guys advance to the state competition. And at the state competition, you duke it out to the top 6 get there. Hopefully you guys check it out. It's pretty cool, it's a lot of fun. And fun fact, there are very few Muslim people that do this. So, how did you get to forensics? How did I get into forensics? Well, I mean, like I said, it depends on whether your high school has it. So some high schools have the team and they compete at those tournaments, but they're not really well advertised, so they don't really do a good job of that. But oftentimes, if you look it up, it might be just called debate, but they have like a forensics part of it, or it might just call it speech as well. So it can be a little bit confusing. But just look up and see if your school has it, and just join it. You know. What? So I got into forensics because my dad was a debater in high school, and he was like, "Oh, forensic speech and debate, dude, you should do this." Because I did it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you need these skills for life." And I'm like, I'm ridiculously shy. I hate standing in front of people and speaking. I can't do this. Like I have horrible stage fright. So my dad was like, "No, you should do it." And I'm like, for the sake of my dad, I guess I'll do it. He told me I should do it. I talked to the coach, and she was like, "You sure you want to do this?" Like I was a very shy kid that didn't make a noise in class. And so like she even was questioning it. She was like, "I'm sure your parents aren't making you do this." At that point, I had like a crucial decision to make. Like, do I say that my parents are making me do this, or do I just do it because my dad wanted me to? So I decided to do it anyway. I was a 7th grader. I was the only guy in a club entirely filled with girls. And I had horrible stage fright. And I thought this was a speech, and I thought this was a debate team. And then I found out that all they do is act weird skits and do weird voices to a bunch of people in an audience. And then I looked at it and I thought, oh, I wanted something funny. And at first they gave me this really depressing piece. They were convinced that, you know, if I was a shy, quiet kid, they shouldn't give anything funny to me. And the first time I got something funny was something by this guy. I didn't know who he was because I didn't know any famous people. It was like Jay Leno or something like that. Anybody who doesn't know, it's Jay Leno. He's like this famous comedian. So I did the piece, and it was really funny, and I really enjoyed it, and I guess the rest was history. But that year, I got to like around 7th in state, alhamdulillah. And I had a lot of fun. And because I was a kid that watched a lot of Lion King when I was younger, and loved to do voices of Mufasa and Scar. So yeah, it was just something that I enjoyed to do. That happened accidentally. So listen to what your parents tell you, I guess. You never know what will happen. Like, I'm now the forensics guy. This is why they asked me to put this thing on. So who knows what will happen.
What do you look for?
What's up? Well, they ain't not in forensics, you don't do it. No. Try it and see if you like it. If you don't like it, don't do it. I don't know. Judge for yourself.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Majid. He came all the way from Pennsylvania to do his performance. Well, not really, but he's from Pennsylvania. As you can see, he's sweating right now. So like he gave his all to do like this performance. Takes all of it. So Jazakallah khair once again, Majid. Like he was saying, he started off as a shy kid, and he was just doing it because his dad thought it would be cool. And eventually, in his senior year of high school, he became the storytelling forensics, and forensics became storytelling #1 like champion in the state. So I mean, it turned out well for him. Alhamdulillah. So I guess that's that can tell what you can take away from that is go for something that's out of your comfort zone and make something out of it. So next, inshallah, we have Zain Shamoon. Inshallah, he's a spoken word artist and social activist from Lansing. He does performances around the area. Some of you might have seen him before. He's currently getting his PhD at MSU. So give it up for Zain Shamoon. Inshallah, he'll be doing a few of his pieces.
Hi. I'm a very loud human being, so I don't really need the mic. Assalamu alaikum. How are you guys doing? Good? Can somebody for me define what you learned today when you learned about Ihsan? Somebody raise your hand. Tell me. What did you learn?
No, because I'm doing a camera work.
Go ahead. Worship Allah as though you see Him, and if you do not see Him, know that He sees you, right? So the ever-presence, right, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? What about Iman? What does Iman mean? Go ahead. Raise your hand. I can't see you. Speak up. Oh, go ahead.
Iman means like having belief in Allah
Having belief in Allah, yeah. Iman also includes the belief in the 6 articles, right? So Allah, books, prophets, angels, the day of judgment, and destiny. Those are unwavering beliefs for Muslims. Sometimes our consciousness of God, both of these concepts relate to the consciousness of God, being aware that God exists, and the more you're aware that God exists, the more you heed from doing things that are not consistent with your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I'm going to say something pretty controversial right now. Some of you will understand it, some of you will understand it, and some of you will not. We have, a lot of us in this room, have histories from our parents, and their parents, and their parents, that existed in wartime, or something called colonialism. Those of you who don't understand what colonialism is, it was the British rule of India, right? Which leads to an insecurity of those people who don't have power to feel that they need to appease or look good in front of those people who are in power. What comes from this is telling your kids to only become doctors. What comes from this is telling your kids to only go after things that have to do with money. We don't even ask about people's characters anymore. When they get married, we say, well, he's a doctor, he must be a good guy. This is a sharp contrast from being mindful of Allah and who we are as people and what we need to do to respond to Him. If the quick answer for 99% of Muslims around this country is that you all need to become doctors, then no one's going to be equipped to respond to Bill Maher in the media. We got to get Ben Affleck to do it. Because none of us know how. We don't go to school for politics. We don't go to school for media. We're not mindful of what we've been entrusted with. We've been entrusted with a community, with a mind, with a heart, and an emotion. And it boils down to that, right? We become reductive. I know 23-year-olds that don't know how to do their own laundry. What is this? Take care of yourself. And be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My poems are about this today. About becoming confident. That you have one life. You've been given a mind, a heart, a soul, a body. And it's up to you to do things with that. Now, if your parents don't necessarily see eye to eye, that's okay. And you know what? A lot of times, 99% of the time, they're right. So respect them. But sitting down with your children and sitting down with your parents is one way to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you're actually experiencing something. Rather than just being a robotic, like, okay, have conversations with each other and with your friends. And you'll find more ways to respond to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brotherhood is not something passive. It's something where you spend time with each other. And so is family. Family is not meant to be, do this for me. Family is supposed to be something lived and experienced. You love prayer because you pray with your family. You don't love prayer because go do it. See what I'm saying? So, with that said, I have a couple poems. And inshallah, you'll see that there's a relationship between taking care of yourself and being mindful of Allah. This is called Confidence. I wrote it when I was 17. I'm confident. I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. New day comes as the sun rises. New day full of hopeful surprises. I'm confident. Strike down the hurt from the past. Stand tall as a person with wisdom in class. Stop as the days go by too fast. Put your mind on play and stop feeling trapped. It's you, a man on top of the world, an individual that hurts all he feels. But on this day, confidence appeals to the brain and the soul like emotional meals. New day starts and the boy starts fresh. He never needs another whimper or another's breath, but he realized it will come again. He needs to be a kid with strength to tell, then strength to tell when there's reason to cry. Be confident till the day that you die, as a boy with a soul who knows his own goals, a boy with a plan who plays his own role, doesn't lie to get ahead and remains himself. Strong boy now with emotional wealth, educated by the knowledge, now he's finding who he is. Holding him back is off the checklist. His own goals are his business. It took a lot from the heart for him to do this. So here's a little message for all you all people. Always tell yourself, I'm ready to do this because I'm confident, I'm ready, I'm confident, I'm ready to do this. New day comes as the sun rises. New day full of hopeful surprises. I'm confident. But what am I? A man with much love. Carries inside, it fits like a glove. Man, my heart is up and not down. If you left me there, then it's your loss now. I'm a poet, I'm a rapper, I'm a boy with a soul, so I say to myself, go confidence, go no, I don't know, the screaming out O's, uncertainty, supported by those, and those who see woes negatively. If you don't die, it'll set you free of a person with a bad personality who carries around a false ID. New day starts with a fresh new slate. And all that fear, it's your first bait because you conquered it. And it's not too late to look through the glass and appreciate everything about yourself. Because that will add to your wealth. Otherwise, you're sitting and bleeding, waiting and crying while waiting for dying. Always have faith that you will do well, even do well when all that bad fell, even do well when the smokes hit the sky. And now this confidence, you can't deny. In fact, I am so confident. I am so mindful of my Lord and what He created me to do, that I don't stutter anymore. In fact, I scratch this junk because I'm confident, ready to do this. New day comes as the sun rises. New day full of hopeful surprises. Confidence. That's right, I'm confident. Yo, confidence. How many of you have heard my poetry before? It's a lot of people. Have you heard that poem before? No? Okay, good. It's an old one, so I know that some of my poems that I've written over the past 2 years, a lot of you have heard over and over and over again. I'm kind of tired of them. That's all I got left for you today because I don't have my phone charged, and my new poems are on my phone. For those of you, are there any questions about that poem and what it meant? Are there any questions for me? Jen, go ahead. What was that? You think it's about? What was that? Who are you? Who am I? Do you think that's what the poem's about? Kind of. Are you asking me who I am? Okay, who I am. Okay, I'll try to. Okay, well, I'm saying I'm a poet. And for me, I think the best way to describe myself in terms of the context of the poem is that when I was young, I was a very hesitant young man. A very, very hesitant young man. Not very different from the performer you heard before. Finding an outlet was something that was hard for me. I was shy, right? But I was also diagnosed with depression as a young child. Okay, and I was also very hard on myself when it came to religion. I found myself making wudu over and over again, praying over and over again, being very hard on myself. And we know this is in contrast to our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because religion is easy. And if you're hard on yourself, it means you're not relying on Him to handle you. It's like you have to do everything. Right? That's not how you relate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do what you need to do and you trust Him. Right? And one of the ways I first began to trust Him was to look at what do I enjoy? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala led me to enjoy? And when I was in high school, I started writing down my words, my poetry, and I just felt this healing. I felt like stuff came out. And I just got more relaxed. Now, that was the beginning of my journey. I mean, I'm much older than I was when I was in high school. It's been, over a decade. But the best way I can describe who I am is I'm a struggling human being that's doing whatever he can to find out who he is in relation to his Lord. And inshallah, when I tap into my art, that's a way for me to be honest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about who I am and to ask for His help. In terms of what I do, I'm a doctoral student at Michigan State, and I also work as a therapist. I'm from here, from Southeast Michigan, not from Lansing. I'll get into another poem. You guys like want a fun one or a serious one?
Fun one. Yeah. Fun.
Alright.
You see,
So,
think the serious
all right. So this is called Voices for Change. It's called Voices for Change. I have often told people that I want to change the world. But it has occurred to me recently that I cannot truly change the world unless I do it with my heart. And if you listen to your heart, you know, it has a rhythm, right? And so instead of just telling you passively that I'd like to change the world, I'd rather tell you like this, that I want to change this. Change the world, the step. Mobilize now. Change the world, the step. Mobilize. This is dedicated to the people who move crowds. Not to make hips shake, but to make loud. Inner feelings that fight injustice. Not to attack, but to stand up with those who know that internalized, unwise feelings will still rise and remain entwined inside systems that promote hate. But our youth have the power to move crowds and shake this world. Change the world, the sample. But immobilized. See, I walked through the land as a student and a man trying to learn what I can from God's plan. Diversity spread, many need to connect. This needs to be recognized through our respect. But society teaches minority kids through specific Eurocentric angles that reproduce hate. But a youth have the power to move crowds and shake this world. Change the world, the step. Mobilize. I put the pen on the paper, I find it hard to start. Things on the mind expressed from my heart. People criticize minds that want justice more, when in fact, real patriots are against war. People living in poverty, we've got cash to send, but what? We'd rather sit back and bomb them again. People like to idolize guns and presidents, but then again, some of us are against the government, so maybe we're brainwashed, living in fear. Scared so much for bringing our loved ones to tears. This is all because of the news that we hear. If you're making money advertising beer, they say to buy things that can one day kill us. We're tempted to get them because they thrill us. We listen to obscenity, cars, drugs, sex. But what about the minds of Dr. King and Malcolm X, who told us to mobilize and change this world? So maybe we should make it turn faster, right? Maybe we should make it turn faster, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should make it spin faster, right?
Right.
Like this. Change the world, step. Mobilize now. Change the world now. Mobilize now. Change the world now. Mobilize now. Change the world. I realized that was still serious, but just had fun stuff. That's as fun as it gets. Okay, so I'll do one more. That's okay. All right. So this is a poem that I wrote in April. At Michigan State, I had the opportunity to direct a play called The Tunnel of Oppression, which had to do with how people are oppressed in the world, either globally or here in Michigan or here in the United States, either economically or different ways, right? So you guys have heard of No, so you guys have heard of racism, right? Sexism, prejudice, these things. So I directed a play. I directed a play at Michigan State tackling these issues, and I did so for 7 years. And so every year I like to write something that means something to me, but I don't think I wrote something that came out quite as healing as this poem, and it's called Movement. How many of you are artists, like in some fashion? You do something to express yourself? Okay. For those people who are daring enough to raise their hands, what is it that you do to express yourself?
Play soccer.
What do you do? Play soccer? Okay. What else? You rap? Okay. What else? What'd you say? Balling? Okay.
Reading Quran.
Reading Quran? Good. That's an important one. What else? Reading Quran. Okay. Good. There are other things. Okay, so this is called movement. Okay, and whether you're sharing or not, know that it's important to express yourself, even if it's not in an artistic way. It's important for you to express yourself and be honest with who you are. Dear whoever runs the school district budget, I was born in a world full of planners. Planners who planted structures and infrastructures that are so much taller than us, such that we always grew up asking, will we ever be that high and important? And we were taught between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. that we could reach there like Superman if we could only learn to master, well, math and hard sciences. And we were taught between the ages of 4 and 45 that statistics were the path. I think I was probably 7 by the time I internalized it and took it to heart. And 23 when I truly first started to take it apart. Take apart this massively tangled knot of lies beneath which there are memories disguised by narratives that read something sort of like this. Muhammad, when you get bad grades, you contribute to your father's stress. Jamal, don't even try. You will never be as smart as them. Aisha, you don't try hard enough, do you? Zayn, you're wasting your time with your hands on those piano keys because there's no future in the pipe dream of an artist. So every time I wanted to have fun, I was being shamed. Told them my art was just play. And that I shouldn't mix it with real work. That I shouldn't get distracted with Quran, or music, or poetry, or soccer, or basketball, or sports. Yeah, I learned that all of that was a distraction. To you, to me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, and most of all the school district, and so they cut it all off everywhere. After all, math and hard sciences were waiting to be mastered. But recently I discovered these hierarchies were planted by planners who couldn't or wouldn't draw. And for sure wouldn't let their kids plan their lives with Crayola. Because planters were consumed by a pollution of a smoke called democracy, corporate industry. Let me explain. The Industrial Revolution promoted a disillusioned delusion, diluted pollution that fogged up the right part of our brains such that we couldn't think about art and couldn't think about why it mattered. It fogged up the right part of our brains. Listen to me. It fogged up the right part of our brains such that we forgot what was right for us and it left us which that did not fit. Well, they don't ask young mathletes to mimic Picasso to prove their worth. They don't ask young mathletes to mimic Picasso to prove their worth. They don't ask young mathletes to philosophize on Aristotle to prove their worth. Instead, they ask the artists to calculate calculus and their chances of making it, comparing their egos to their classmates. So maybe it is about statistics. Because the artists aren't the 1%, of course. And maybe it is about math. Because there's too much money for what makes money for money makers who were born with money and not enough in the budget to invest in a paintbrush, which is a shame because a paintbrush has the potential to paint a better world. And God knows the current picture in our communities is grim. At 26, I now wish I told myself as a child to love art class the most. I wish I told myself that poetry was the language of stories more important than question number 5 on that day's algebra homework. And I wish I could remember the finger paints on my kindergarten fingertips because a blank canvas is more of a waste than an artist. And anyways, an artist isn't a waste. They are builders who open up a world in a way only they can. And I hope I have the guts to tell my kids that I'd rather them fail at what they hate than ignore what they love. I'd rather them fail at what they hate than ignore what they love, but I'm scared because when we grew up hearing that it was silly to make doodles in class instead of paying attention, or maybe half-drawn doodles, ink poisoning, and mediocre to bad poetry was the only thing reminding us to love, so we settled for it. It was better to jot down what we soon forgot, because I learned through it to somehow eventually untie this knot full of lies beneath which there is joy, sheer joy. In this happiness there lives my art, which has texture and color and story and verse and sound and warmth. It has color and story and verse and sound and warmth. And it was all beautifully wound up in my very first poems, which everyone else told me were unimportant. And I soon told myself were unimportant. But now, with the last artistic breath that I have, I tell others to break through the prisons of a world with no color. Let us recapture our eardrums. Do we remember our hands and how high our bodies used to jump and how creatively we used to move and how fun it was to scribble everywhere and how well we knew our talents? Let us embrace and reclaim these pieces of ourselves that rest in the corners of our heart that have been drowned by the colonialism, that have been drowned by our insecurities. The artists hear me scream this now and they say back, yes. We will use artistic tools within the walls of these schools such that our love for ourselves will never escape us. So we inspire each other to take expressions within us and hold them proudly in our palms, raised up for the world to see. For God's sake, these gifts were gifts from God. These gifts that we have were gifts from God. And we are gifts from God. And we are artists. And I wish people told me that when I was 5. We are artists, and I wish I could have known that when I was 5. We are artists, and I wish I could have told my parents that when I was 5. We are artists, and I wish my parents told me that when I was 5. We are artists, and I wish my teachers told me that when I was 5. We are artists, and I wish that was in my du'as to God when I was 5. So now I march now, alongside artists collected towards the doors of the institution. And we knock loudly. We knock loudly. I feel in my heart I am finally reclaiming myself as an artist. And I knock, and I knock, and I knock, and I knock. Finally, behind the door is a man. He answers. I say, sir, I am an artist, and we are artists. And we wish you could have told you that when we were 5. I am an artist, we are artists, and I wish we could have told you that when we were 5. He said, son, I did the math already. There's no room in the budget for that. I know that was a little bit above the age level of some people here, but it's an important poem to me, so I did it. Jazakallah khair for having me. And have a good rest of your week.
For that, we have one thing just to wrap up. To finish the session on a strong note, my man Adil Ahmed and Montez are going to be doing a small piece, small nasheed that they performed before. Do that in the night, inshallah. So, I welcome Adil and Montez. Give them your full attention, guys.
You might not be able to. Yeah, no, I will. I'm going to be standing here.
Actors on the track.
Assalamu alaikum. First, can we have a round of applause for Brother Khurram and our Fat Uncle and Ameen for organizing all this. Without their hard work, this would be impossible. Now next, I'd like to give some shout-outs. One, I'd like to give a shout-out to Canton for killing the nasheed game. Next is Safe Khan right here. Follow him on Twitter, @SafeK, right there. Let's get a round of applause for him. Come on, guys. And the other one is Arafat Uncle, but I can't see him. So his name is Dr. Arafat Khan. Remember to follow him on Twitter, guys. All right, let's get it.
Gotta have one last shout out for our missing member, Saad Shafkat, out there killing the game in football.
Where's Zishan?
We need Zishan Tarek up here too. Alright, never mind, the skull left. Pain, pain, just go away. I'm done living life from day to day. Rising from the ashes, greater than the masses. Through your generosity, I'm here. Through your generosity, I'm here.
Yo.
Started from the bottom and remember I was there. I wake up feeling hungry, know my parents weren't there, yeah. I was standing outside the same street, cold feet on concrete, begging for money, trying to eat some cash here and there, but it all went to waste, wanting to entertain. I was no cocaine, feeling the rush through my veins, the flames through my brain. My heartbeat will rise, yet I stayed stuck in the same trap as the new sun would rise. Thoughts racing through my mind, tears running down my face. I was stuck in a dark place, gambling every day, as my fate was resting in the blacklist of the next ace. Yo, I started robbing and stealing, my heart became numb to all guilty feelings. I was hurting inside, and drugs seemed to be the only path to healing. I lost
lost sense of time and direction, and any hope of a resurrection. And then I met someone man in the same condition as me. I was in my usual state, no food on my plate, but then I met him, a man, old homeless but strong. He taught me the sense of what's right and what's wrong. I was hungry, but he was younger. He hadn't showered in weeks, and so my heart was dirtier. He had been without a home much longer than I, but he saw me teetering on the brink of disaster. He turned to me with his eyes, and in them I saw a sparkling laughter. His eyes had such a delicate kindness. They exposed my heart's blindness. And yet, he humbly gave me his food and told me, after hardship comes ease. So appreciate the bees, the trees, the kind breeze. My life was a mess. He changed it, making me chase success. I was finally on my mission to be, and I understood that generosity was the key. It made me place my faith in God. I felt that prevents me falling victim to any facade. Who knew that one generous act would keep my faith intact? And because of him, I know happily ever after does exist. Because verily, Allah is generous and He loves generosity. He loves nobility, kingdom, and He detests vanity. This is my story, so now you choose generosity or animosity.
Pain, just go away. Done living life from day to day. Rising from the ashes, greater than the masses. Through your generosity, I'm here. Through your generosity, I'm here.
All right.